I wasn't always a screen smart parent. In fact, it has taken 10 years as a child and adolescent psychiatrist, over 100,000 followers on social media, growing 7 kids of my own, including a foster, and working with thousands of families to figure out the recipe to eliminating screen blindness in parents. Rather than give you every step of my journey, I'm going to compress that information and give you the one skill that took my parenting and those who work with me from a disconnected attachment family style to re-engagement, but without the 10,000 hours of therapy or 50 hours of gentle parenting seminar. This isn't some hack outside of your reach, but this one habit of life can help you level up today. It's called intentional awareness. Are you ready to get some? Let's get into it. We're going to go over 3 things. Why intentional awareness is the principle to grasp so that you can improve family life, the traps that you're likely falling into if you're a parent in this age of screens, and the practical steps to helping you overcome this. Whether you follow me here on YouTube, subscribe to my podcast, or get my newsletter, you've probably heard me share this fundamental fact of family life, which is attention is the currency of connection. There's nothing more important. There's no getting around this, and it can't be overcome. Kind of like the laws of gravity or the laws of thermodynamics. In order for the plane to take off, we can't just stop the laws of gravity from working. We actually have to generate significant force to overcome it. How much more true is that in parenting life? I use the term intentional awareness because you kind of have to do this on purpose. Most of us don't truly realize how distracted we parents are, or the true level of our distracted habits. Even in my own home, we have to take a regular inventory of how much time we have given each child. How that looks is not that we have some formal tally going that actually calculates the minutes precisely with each child. That would be impossible. But we do have to strategically ask ourselves, have we given ourselves the opportunity to be present to them? Did you hear the difference there? If I ask you to add a habit like most parenting gurus will, with, you only have to say this one perfect phrase, and if you do it 2 times or 3 times or 4 times a day, that you should be getting X type of results. That's not what I'm saying. But what we need to be is aware that we're in the presence of someone else in our lives, and there are so many ways in which we get distracted. So when we rewind to the beginning of child development, we know that an infant requires its mother's gaze, its body warmth, the breathing, the heart rate, all those things. And that is undefeated in capturing their heart if done well. Those of you like me who've had the experience of walking alongside kiddos in foster care know that the lack of these inputs can really make a difference. They can destroy a profound sense of connection and belonging in the world. Now contrast that to the modern world in which a teenager can exist in a basement, closed off from natural light, absent from hearing his or her parent's voice in a span of 24 hours, while all the while receiving a kind of false nourishment through the social media they consume. How can we be surprised then that our connection to our children are diminished or decreased when they are living like that, kind of apart from our gaze, from our sunlight, from our energy? Now, before we get to the traps of this pattern of life, let me share with you the sponsor of today's video, who also cares about loving connections, and that's Be Well Collective Apparel. Check out their Try Again apparel line, which features my catchphrase that reminds parents to assume the best of their kids by inviting them to practice this style of conversation that helps our hearts to sync. Check them out in the link in the show notes and the description to support the movement. Now, back to me. Now that you can see how intentional awareness is the key principle to understanding family life, let's get to the most common overlooked traps keeping families from deep connection. If we walk through a typical weekday, most kids wake up around 7 a.m. They leave for school by 8, that's about an hour. But between brushing their teeth, eating breakfast, finding backpacks, we might only get 10 to 15 minutes of real connection with our kids during that time span. Then it's off to school and work, kids are busy learning, parents are working hard too, we're apart for 7 to 9 hours every weekday. Now it's evening, finally together again. But what happens next? Dinner, dishes, homework, maybe some screen time. Everybody's tired, rinse and repeat. Now, would you like me to pull back the curtain to take an even deeper look? For most kids or teens, that wake up began with a device, alerting your child to wake up or telling them good morning before they even looked into the face of a real life human. Even before they made it to the breakfast table, they might have taken a few moments looking into their screen, checking on messages, or maybe checking in on their favorite influencer. In the evening, when the family is trying to relax, the child is either trying to retreat from the parental connection and talking about the deep stuff of the day, or too distracted to even capture what's on their face. And kids can tell when we're not really there, even when we're in the same room. So we can't be surprised at surveys that find that more than half of parents say that they are too distracted by phones, work, or chores to give their kids their full attention. A recent study showed that the average parent spends only 37 minutes a day in meaningful conversation with their kids. By the time a child turns 18, they will have spent only about 4 years of waking time with their parents, compared to 6+ years in school. Time is not on our side, parents, if we play it this way. The way to reverse the numbers is simply spending just 10 extra minutes of undistracted time with your child each day. Now, that might not sound like much, but over 18 years, that adds up to more than a whole month of extra connection. That's like adding a bonus summer vacation with your child, a full 4 weeks to laugh, to talk, to play, to bond, all from just 10 minutes a day. This matters because kids who feel emotionally disconnected from parents are twice as likely to struggle with attention, anxiety, or behavior issues at school. Speaking of improving our attention, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Bark. If you're looking for a way to safely and securely monitor where your child's attention is going, especially on a digital device, this is my favorite. They offer an amazing app and even have devices preloaded that both look like the typical modern phone, but they are equipped with the most up-to-date monitoring software I have come across. As you know, Bark is the only phone my family has trusted as our kids have climbed their heights of independence, and it's the only device I trust. Check them out in the show notes or the description below. Let's get back to the show. Here's the most practical way to get started. If I could pick one way to help families feeling more connected every day, it would be this: eat a meal together. Meal times matter, not just for food, but for faces, for feelings, and full attention. You don't need a fancy meal. You just need to show up, sit down, and look at each other. Family meals are like a charging station. Think of your child like a phone. They go all day using energy, at school, at practice, on screens. When they sit down with you at the table, it's like plugging them in. Family meals recharge their emotional batteries. And here's the cool part. Science backs this up. Researchers have studied families who eat together at least 3 to 5 times a week. And guess what they found? Kids in those families are more likely to get better grades. They're less likely to use drugs or alcohol. They're more confident talking to parents and more likely to feel happy and supported. Even things like vocabulary and mental health improve with regular family meals together. One study showed that family dinners were more powerful for children development than homework or sports. Again, you don't need perfect food or a big kitchen. You just need presence. Dinner, breakfast, even a snack together. It's not about what you eat, but how you show up. And of course, while you're at the table, make eye contact, ask a silly question, listen to what your kid says about their day. You're not just feeding their body, you're feeding their heart. I can hear the objections. Maybe we can't do dinners. Well, guys, again, any meal counts, even one at a time that you make up. Thanks for tuning in. If this message resonated with you, do me a favor, like this video, subscribe, and share it with another parent who might need this reminder. Let's keep growing together. Don't forget to send me your questions and be among the first to know when the book is released this fall. And don't forget, guys, there's no connection like your connection. Shout out to my favorite producer and eldest son who goes by the moniker Slip Shuffle. And as always, my friends, be well.